All right, everyone. So Keaton just had to duck out. So it's just me. It's all good. It's just me. So we miss you, Keaton, but poor Keaton had to do other duties, so you're stuck with me. Right, topic 3, part 3. So now we're going to look at acid-base balance. Now, you're going to go, well, I don't know what that means. Well, that's fine. Because remember when we were talking about fluid balance? So to be in fluid balance, water in must equal water out. If you're in electrolyte balance, it means you have the right amount of electrolytes. So you're in the homeostatic range, not too high, not too low. Okay, you're in that. Now, acid-base balance just means that you have the right amount of acids and you have the right amount of bases in your fluid. That's it. It is mystery solved. Okay. Now, why is this important? Okay. We know that our body is made up of water and proteins. Now, proteins are influenced by acids. If we stick a protein in an acidic environment, it's going to lose its shape. And if a protein loses its shape, it can no longer work as a little machine. So that is why it's so important to keep the pH of our fluids in homeostatic range. Okay, now different parts of our bodies have different pH. Normal pH of blood is around, arterial blood is around 7.4. The pH of blood in your veins is 7.35 on average. The pH inside of your cells is around 7 on average. So can you see how it's different? Okay, so just be aware that acid-base balance, you have to have the right amount of acid, the right amount of bases, the right pH for you to make sure you don't destroy your little proteins, which are your body's machines. Right. There are a few conditions that can arise. The pH of your blood in your arteries, if that's above 7.5, you have developed something called alkalosis. If your pH goes below 7.35, it means it's too acidic. It's acidosis. Okay. Now, where do we get acid from? Okay. Why do we need to keep this in check? Where do we get our acids? Acids, we actually get a lot of acids from the food that we eat and also from things, chemical reactions that happen in our body. We make acid, all right? For example, I'm going to show you, you've probably seen this before when we did respiratory. When carbon dioxide meets water, it forms carbonic acid. So here is a source of acid, okay? When we break down lipid as a source of fuel, when we break down fat as a source of fuel, it makes acids, okay? So we get acids from many, many different sources in our body, and we need to make sure that we keep them in check, because if they lower our pH too much, our proteins will be gonzo, okay? They will be destroyed. The shape will be gone, okay? And when they lose their shape, they lose their function. All right, so now we're going to look at 3 different ways that the body uses to make sure that our pH doesn't shift, okay? Now that we want to maintain the correct pH in certain spots. So the arterial blood needs to be kept at 7.4. You know, the pH in our cells, inside our cells, needs to be 7. We need to keep it at 7. It can't shift. All right, so we know what an acid is. An acid is when you put it in solution, it spits out hydrogen ions. So we're looking at hydrogen ions. How do we control those pesky hydrogen ions? Because as we saw before, hydrogen ions, if you have heaps and heaps of them, you have an acid. If you don't have a lot of them, you have a base. So it's about controlling the hydrogen concentration. So we have 3 ways that we can do this. So we have chemical buffers. These chemical buffers, I'm going to show you what they are. They act within a fraction of a second. So this is quick response. Your respiratory system helps us maintain our pH. Remember how I said that body systems or body organs always multitask? The respiratory system helps us out, and that kicks in within 1 to 3 minutes. Then the kidneys need an hour. All right, so we have a quick, medium, long-term response. Or we have 3 ways that we can control, and they all work at different speeds. Remember, let's go back a step. Let's remember and think about what an acid is in case you didn't do 165. You're just doing 175. You're doing them back to front. It's all good. You can do that. Let's think about what an acid is. An acid is something that spits out hydrogen ions when it's added to water. So have a look here, hydrochloric acid, if I did add that to water, look, it completely dissociates, which means it breaks apart. And that's a strong acid. So look at the hydrogen ions floating around. Boo! More hydrogen ions equals more acid. Boo! Our proteins don't like it. This acid goes in here. Look, only some of it is broken up, but we're worried about these hydrogens. Okay, we need to keep an eye on those and we need to deal with those. We can't have them floating around. Okay, chemical buffers. So a chemical buffer is just a molecule. Now I'm going to show you how they work. It's called a system, but it's actually just a molecule that does stuff for us. That's basically what it is. There are 3 major chemical buffers: bicarbonate, phosphate, and protein. And I'm going to look at each of those in turn. Number 1, the bicarbonate buffer system. So this mechanism is really, really important in extracellular fluid. Remember we had fluids in 3 places? What were they? Inside our cells, between our cells, and in the blood. Okay? So the between our cells or in the blood is what is extracellular fluid, which is outside of the cells. So this system here works there. Right, so this system is just 2 molecules working together. Okay? We have this guy here, carbonic acid and sodium bicarbonate. So, how do they work together? If you have a strong acid, okay, if a strong acid ends up in your extracellular fluid, this molecule sticks to the hydrogen. Happy days. If you have a base added to your fluid, then this molecule donates a hydrogen. Happy days. That is essentially how it works. So simple. And that way we can keep the pH at a constant level. If I need to get rid of hydrogen, this guy will do it. If I need an extra hydrogen to keep my pH level, this guy will come to the party. And that is the system. Easy, hey? Phosphate system works kind of the same way. 2 molecules helping us out. If you have a strong acid, we have too many hydrogens, this guy holds on to it. If we have not enough hydrogens, this guy gives us one. Simple. Simple, simple. This one, mostly these two molecules, this system, is in the urine and intracellular. It's mostly in there, keeping things under control. Okay? Third one, proteins. They are the body's little machines, but they also help us out with regards to keeping an eye on the pesky hydrogens. Hemoglobin is a buffer. So when carbon dioxide combines with water, I said to you before, it makes acid. And acid then spits out hydrogen ions. Guess what hemoglobin does? Goes, oh, there's a hydrogen ion floating around that it's not supposed to, and it grabs it. Yay, hemoglobin. Multitask. Everything in the body multitasks. How cool is hemoglobin? All right, what I might do is let's keep going. Respiratory rate. So we just did chemical buffers. So now you know what they are. They're just duo molecules making sure that the hydrogen concentration stays stable. There's nothing complicated about it. Right, let's have a look at the respiratory system. So let's have a look at this picture and kind of understand what's going on. Our cells are always spitting out carbon dioxide, are they not? Yeah. Now that carbon dioxide goes into your interstitial fluid, which is the fluid between our cells. Carbon dioxide combines with water to make carbonic acid, and then that splits. Okay? And we know that because we did this when we did respiratory. So carbon dioxide combines with water to make carbonic acid. Carbonic acid, because it's an acid, it's going to split. And it's going to split and it's going to give us a hydrogen and bicarbonate. So the hydrogen, as we saw before, hemoglobin goes, hey, where are you going? I don't want you to float around. Gotcha. And then bicarbonate sits around in the plasma, and that's how we go to the lung. Okay? So this is just the 3 different ways that carbon dioxide is actually transported. So we can transport carbon dioxide that way, which is as bicarbonate ions. Carbon dioxide can also be transported as dissolved in the plasma on its own. Or hemoglobin, again, ultra multitasker, also can hold on to a carbon dioxide molecule for us. And that's how we go to the lung. Okay, so this is what's happening in the tissue. And we go like this to the lung. This is how we travel to the lung. Right, here again, carbon dioxide, water, carbonic acid. Okay? So how does the respiratory system help us out? The medulla, okay, if you have too much carbon dioxide in your blood, all right, too much carbon dioxide in your blood, your medulla picks it up and goes, hey, there's something wrong here. There's too much carbon dioxide in your blood. The medulla tells your respiratory muscles to contract, so that way you breathe quicker and deeper. The quicker and deeper that you breathe, the more you can get rid of carbon dioxide. Okay, here is a little fill in the blank activity. Okay, we can have a look at this. When the pH something, the respiratory centers are depressed. Okay, what do you think goes in there? When the pH, so this in this particular in this particular situation, we're looking at if the pH, okay, carbon dioxide plus water gives you carbonic acid. That means carbon dioxide is going to lower your pH. So when you have low pH, which is acidic, the medulla tells the respiratory system to breathe more, okay? Breathe deeper and quicker to get rid of the carbon dioxide. More carbon dioxide, more carbonic acid, lower pH. So now this is the opposite. When your pH rises, respiratory centers are depressed. As the respiratory rate drops and respiration becomes shallower, we retain carbon dioxide. This pushes the equation to the left, causing the hydrogen ion to increase. To the right, or to the left. This pushes the equation to the right. Right, yes, to the right, causing the hydrogen concentration to increase. Okay, so what I want you to understand here is that you've got carbon dioxide. The more carbon dioxide you have laying around, the more it's going to combine with water and the more carbonic acid you're going to make. So more carbon dioxide equals lower pH. The more you breathe out, the less carbon dioxide you have. So the respiratory system is in charge of the carbon dioxide concentration. Okay? So the more you get rid of it, the less acid you have. Okay? All right. So what I might do is I might stop this recording here and let you catch up with your learning objectives. And then I will go on to the kidneys.